Okay, welcome everyone. This is our first esports webinar to introduce you to an amazing new qualification that's been created. We've titled the webinar Esports Leadership, Creating the Leaders of Tomorrow Today, as we very much want to inspire that through this qualification itself. I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Catherine Holland-Heathers. I'm the Market Development Manager for SLQ Sports Leaders, and I've been overseeing and supporting our departments to develop this qualification in partnership with the College of Esports. And I'm very pleased to welcome Professor Bobby Fletcher, also joining us on the webinar to give her experience of supporting the development of this qualification as we've worked together over the last few months.
Hello.
So the outcomes for today. The outcomes for today is we're going to introduce you to the level 3 qualification in esports leadership. We're going to pass over to Dr. Bobby to discuss sort of the resource development and some ideas around some possible delivery models that you might consider. We'll then think about or discuss why we should choose SLQ. So some of you might be new to us as an organisation, some of you have worked with us before, and then talk about how you can get involved with this new pilot. So just a little bit of key information firstly about the Level 3 Esports Leadership qualification. It is a qualification that supports young people to build their confidence, their resilience and their leadership skills. What's really great is that the qualification can be delivered alongside the BTEC in esports. So if you're a college that are already actively delivering that qualification, that subject qualification yourselves, then you can add this as an additional qualification that the learners can complete alongside. And what we'd seek for it to do is to help start that learning pathway for young people that are interested in esports, that want to actually do some wider volunteering, which we'll discuss a little bit more when we talk about the qualification in a bit more detail. So what the students get from it is a nationally recognised qualification that comes with UCAS points. They get the opportunity to gain experience in leading esports events and activities to grassroots participants, and they're effectively developing those essential leadership skills that they can transfer into any other arena and link to those employability opportunities in the future. Now, how it works is that we've got 7 units. The leaders need to complete 12 hours of leadership through esports activities. They're developing their confidence and their ability to apply those skills in a variety of situations linked to the different ecosystems within esports. And again, they're practically applying that through the planning and leading of sessions and volunteering afterwards. Now, why should you do it? Well, there's a chance to engage your esports students through their esports studies to develop those lifelong skills. It can help support and create a positive image of esports and help to raise its profile within your college. And also you're supporting the young people to really make a difference in their community and the wider society through esports. So there's some of the outcomes that you're considering that you want to get from your esports studies, then this is an opportunity to be able to introduce this qualification and achieve that as well. Now, what's key to all of our leadership programs and qualifications is our skills framework. These 5 skills depicted in the image here are the skills that the students are going to actively be developing through this esports qualification. So we have the skills and the behaviours that are linked underneath, and through the various activities that are planned throughout the qualification, they will be developing their confidence across all 5. And they are the transferable skills that we know through our work with the Youth Employment UK are the 5 key skills that employers are looking for. So they're definitely working on those employability skills. So as I mentioned, we've developed this in partnership with the College of Esports. We have created, with Dr. Bobby Fletcher's support, tutor resources that are designed to support you with developing and delivering the leadership aspects, and also delivered and developed by leadership and esports experts. We have 7 tailored units depicted in the image there. And again, the key thing about this qualification, it's practical application of those leadership skills, but using esports as the vehicle, allowing those students to lead and volunteer and using a tried and tested model. So the outcomes for the learners. So by undertaking the level 3 qualification, they'll be able to develop those transferable leadership skills using esports as the vehicle. They can plan and lead esport activities and sessions, and really focusing on that grassroots esports player, so that grassroots ecosystem, looking at whether that's individuals or within groups and teams. They'll be able to develop and evaluate and adapt sessions to suit all abilities. They'll be focusing on leading safe, fair and inclusive esports activities and events, and then help to set up perhaps new or maintain existing esports communities within college or within the wider community as well. And they will do that by leading 12 hours or more of esports activities, events, and linking up with tournaments as well. So here is just a unit summary for the qualification itself. Again, you can see the 7 units outlined there with their headline, with their head titles. And it's also broken down the guided learning hours, the directed study hours, and then ultimately the 129 hours, which is the total qualification time. So you can see as a tutor delivering this, the guided learning hours equate to 56 hours in total. And then directed study time is the time that students might spend away from you as the tutor, perhaps completing some of the tasks, completing the learner evidence records that come along as part of the resources for this. This is how they evidence their learning. So it's broken down so you can see clearly which unit, how many units there are, and how many hours per unit are expected. Again, this is a guideline. It may be that some of those units you spend a little bit more time on, or you might not need to. It's very much, like I say, a guideline for the qualification itself. So just to run through a few benefits to the centres. So your college, your centre, as we call you, you'd receive training and support to deliver the programme. You'd be focusing on leadership skill development through practically applied qualifications. You have the ability to evidence impact on the personal development of the pupils, which is sort of a key outcome for many sort of sixth forms and colleges. You're creating a positive learning environment, the ability to increase attainment and engagement through a leadership qualification that might be bolted onto an existing BTEC course. And you'll be providing an effective and successful learning environment to promote the cultural and social values. To the learners, we would hope they get increased confidence and resilience, an increased social or cultural capital, an increased sense of achievement, and they would develop those transferable skills to support them through their journey into employment, whether that's going through into further education, higher education, or into any type of employment, whether it's esports related or not. And then working towards their potential, so looking at that increased life satisfaction as well. Now to the workforce would be your department staff, your delivery team. You'll be receiving professional development for the tutors and delivery staff, which we hope would lead to some increased job satisfaction because it's an area that you enjoy teaching. You'll have the ability to demonstrate the impact that you're having on a young person or a group of young people through this course, and would look to seek to have that engagement, that valued workforce that supports the development of leadership skills that's important for the young person. Now, I've talked to you, did a brief sort of whirlwind through the qualification, the benefits, and now I'm going to introduce Dr. Bobby Fletcher, who's going to talk a little bit more around her involvement with the development of resources, really as the subject matter expert for esports, and also potentially how she might be looking to run it in the College of Esports where she works. So, Dr. Bobby, if you're ready.
I'm ready, yes. So my involvement with it is really, as you said, as a subject expert, but if you already do the sports leadership qualification as part of your school or college, you'll actually kind of see the framework of the sports leadership qualification within the esports leadership qualification, because there are a lot of similarities. And I think when we were developing that with SLQ, we were both astonished about how we understood each other from different areas. So from a sports area and from an esports area, there was a lot of similarities, particularly in the first unit that we do. So the first unit is the developing the leadership skills. And you probably understand that leadership is leadership wherever you are, whether it's on the playing field or whether it's actually online or whether it's in a computer room, because people are people. And so we just look at the developing those leadership skills and what leadership skills the students already have or feel they have that they can contribute to the qualification. We have resources for that, though, which are specifically esports leadership. So we do have resources looking at what a team manager is or what a coach actually is for esports, the key leadership titles within esports, and how they actually differ. And we will give you those resources to help you teach leadership from an esports perspective. And I do actually know that we have got people in this call today that have already been doing that and been doing it very successfully. I'm pointing at you there, Martin, because I know that you've actually really done that very successfully within your team at St Vincent's College. So that first unit is all about leadership skills and effectively auditing, honing and recording those leadership skills. So the second unit, that one is, let me just get my notes up here. Oh, bear with me. Trying to find the second unit. So the second unit is about ecosystems. So esports ecosystems is where we kind of move away from the sports field, and we actually look at what specifically the esports ecosystem is and how that affects leadership. So when I'm talking about esports ecosystems, I'm talking about who communicates with whom within the whole sphere of esports. We're looking at because we could, things like players and venues and coaches and teams and social media, branding, marketing, all those people, how they combine to make an ecosystem. Then we look at, in that unit, then we also look at characteristics of different types of games and how those different types of games fit into that ecosystem, whether they're sort of like MOBAs or first-person shooters, etc. We look at then sort of things like tournaments, tournament types, how you organize a tournament, other roles and activities that are to do with the esports ecosystem. We also look at things like ranking systems and how important a ranking system is to a player. And being able to match players successfully together. It's a bit like in sports teams when you've got the A team and the B team. You don't want a lot of A team and B team playing together, because you want people playing at the same level as them. So we look at ranking systems and all that sort of stuff as well. So that's, and also we look at the history of esports and where it's come from, obviously, and where it diverged and became this massive industry that is sweeping across the world. You'll recognise that quite a lot. If you already teach the BTEC esports, you'll actually recognise quite a lot of that kind of material that has come from the BTEC, which is about esports ecosystems. So that's the second unit. The third unit, just let me pull that up. So the third unit is and this is a hot topic at the moment, it's online safety, ethics, current issues in esports leadership. And this is one where it will change over time, because, as it says, it's like the contemporary issues, the current issues within esports, and we hope to be making up a bank of these issues. Like just recently, there's been a whole thing blow up in the esports ecosystem, where G2 has just won the World Championships, and the leader of G2 has been mixing with a very unsavoury character when he was celebrating the win, G2's win, and there were complaints coming in that he's mixing with his unsavoury character that has said some really bad stuff in the press, and the leader of G2 put out a tweet saying I can mix with who I like, and then an expletive, and that has gone right across the ecosystem, and he has now been suspended from his job as the team manager of G2. So that's one of the current things that is on there, the current issues, the ethics of, what are you responsible for as a leader? What is what behaviours are expected as a leader? And there's loads of these that will pop up over time of these new issues that will happen within the ecosystem. We're looking at online safety, and we're looking obviously at things like grooming, but we're also looking at things like toxic behaviour, bullying, harassment, and generally sometimes really bad behaviour going on online, and looking at why it happens, and how we as leaders can actually stop that happening, behave in an appropriate way. My example that I just gave earlier is example of a leader not acting in an appropriate way and therefore giving a bad example of leadership, for which he's actually paid for. So safeguarding is another issue, because we're dealing with under 18s and vulnerable adults. Then we look at safeguarding to make sure that the appropriate people are masquerading, if you want, as coaches. At the moment, there is no qualification to say I am an esports coach. Therefore, there is no register, there's no vetting process, and we're looking at things like that, and how maybe the ecosystem can regulate itself with some kind of registration system, etc. That's Unit 3. Unit 4, let me just pull that up. Unit 4 is about health and well-being of esports players. Again, it's a pretty hot topic. Gone are the days really now of players playing just constantly for 18 hours a day and eating unhealthily, being unfit, not getting any mental breaks. The whole esports scene for players has actually turned around to say, actually, how can we stop the burnout of young players and have them have a elongated player life and a player life cycle? And it looks at the main 3 pillars of health and well-being: mental health, physical health, and social health. Diet, nutrition, sleep, and why we need them. It also looks at some of the horror stories of things like injuries that players have had, mental breakdowns that they've had, etc., and figuring out how we can actually schedule proper schedules for sleep, for nutrition, for exercise, and for doing things like the solo queuing and scrims, so that the player isn't overwhelmed and can actually have a healthy playing lifestyle. We also look at tilt. Tilt is something that happens within computer games. It is both a behavioural and an emotional response, and we look at those triggers for tilt. It defines what tilt is. Tilt is where effectively the player gets overwhelmed and explodes in some manner or other, or doesn't explode. There are different types of tilt, and one of the types of tilt is actually retreating as well. So it looks at the tilt where you explode and things go flying and screens get punched, and tilt where the player disengages. When it comes to competitive play, those are both as important as each other. When it comes to social play, it tends to be more about the explosive tilt that happens. So we look at that. There's positive tilt, negative tilt, exit tilt, and lump. There's actually 4 types of tilt that happens. And then we look at how we can overcome tilt as a manager, understanding and putting people in each other's shoes, because one of the major reasons for tilt is your players on your own team. So teamwork comes in there, and understanding how your team functions as a team. I think it's a fascinating area. This is one of my favorite areas, is understanding tilt and behaviors of players. again, we've got lots of links for you to look at about mental health, physical health, nutrition, sleep, etc. So we've got lots of rich videos that you can look at there. So Unit 5. So Unit 5 is about create, manage and grow your own esports community. Community is really important, and it's really important to have a healthy community, a community that is managed well and it is grown at an appropriate speed, a community which is for all and listens to all. Understanding how you fit into the community and how people around you fit into that community is also incredibly important. Moderating the community, again, how the rules and norms of that community and how you start with the roles and the norms of that community shows the signposts for how that community is going to grow and to which audience it is going to grow and on what platform. And so that unit is all about that, and it gets the students to actually create their own community, maybe on a small scale kind of way, but it gets them to look at how they do that, set it up, run it, moderate it. So that's quite a nice little one on community management there. The 6th unit, bear with me. The 6th unit is plan, lead, evaluate a series of esports activities. It says what it is on the tin. It's very much like the sports activity units that are in the sports leadership qualification, but it's the activities are esports activities. You can look at esports activities from a variety of ways. We're asking them to look at things like scrimming as an esports activity, as well as small LAN parties where you have known participants, and maybe that's from within inside your own college, so it's an internal one, or maybe with a local college, a bit of a varsity kind of feel, and create and run and evaluate esports events in that way, at those levels, and look at the different levels of complexity of actually running an esports event. And also with esports events, I think one of the things that a lot of people forget is once the esports event is over, it's not over, because a big part of running an event is evaluating how the event went, because when you do events management, it is all about understanding how to improve, what went wrong, what went right, and that's practice for the next time, because events management is practice. Then our very last unit, that unit is improve players' ability to participate in esports activities. So obviously esports is quite an inclusive pastime. The vast majority of people, students of school and college age, do play some kind of computer games, and a lot of them will play the esports type of games, maybe not completely in an esports team style, but socially. And it's looking at what would improve the ability to participate in esports activities, be it that some communities maybe are toxic, or maybe some communities are not conducive to for female players to play in. There has been instances where female players felt uncomfortable to do so, and therefore their participation possibly in a type of game or a game title itself has been stopped or prevented due to the fact that they don't want that kind of harassment. Also look at the different types of performance, from grassroots players to high performing players, the type of data which is gathered on players and how we can use that data to improve the player's ability to participate in esports activities, and generally looking at and analysing in-game data to improve the player situation. So this has an element of data towards it as well. So that kind of rounds up the 7 various units that we have. The last unit I was talking about is helping improve players' ability to participate in esports. Again, it's something you'll actually see in the sports leadership qualification. It's all about engaging in sport. Well, this is all about engaging in esports and the positive aspects of esports. That's kind of a roundup of the 7 units. The delivery mechanisms. Well, there are basically 2 delivery mechanisms. The College of Esports is a centre to deliver these qualifications. You can actually set up your school or college as a centre itself as well, and there are various training sessions that you'd have to have a designated person who would be the person who ran the centre, the Esports Leadership Qualification Centre at your college, and you'd have to do some training. It's not arduous training, but it's just to check that you are trained in the area. You can do that and set up your own one. And we'd be quite happy to, chat to you about it and give you a hand where we can. The other opportunity that you can have is actually become an umbrella underneath the College of Esports. So we have the centre, and we would help you deliver part of your esports qualification. If you felt that you couldn't deliver the whole lot, we can help you deliver it by giving help and resources and time to actually do that. So 2 aspects of it. If you're already doing the esports BTEC and you think you can deliver this qualification with the resources that you've got and the people that you've got, then fine, set yourself up as the centre. Or if not, we can give you a lot more help, and we will do that as a partnership with the College of Esports. So that's kind of basically everything I needed to say.
That's
Catherine?
Thank you, Dr. Bobby. That's great. As you can see, there's been so much thought put into these resources to support the delivery of this qualification, and so many parallels that run true with sort of our existing sports leadership qualifications, and especially the level 3 that we offer. And I know there's a couple of colleagues on the webinar now that delivery staff that deliver the level 3. So hopefully you'll see when the specification goes live, which the web page for esports is now live, and I'll send you a link to. You'll see in the specification actually that there's a lot of parallels. It can run very similar, so that should hopefully give you the confidence to go, yeah, we can absolutely deliver this alongside what we already offer. Thank you, Dr. Bobby, for that. That was brilliant. I'm just going to move on then. For those of you that haven't worked with SLQ or SLQ Sports Leaders, as we are known, we are the leading organisation for the effective development of essential skills in young people. We seek to help individuals develop the skills they need to succeed, and using those skills have that quality sort of leadership output at the end. We offer the flexible and certificated training for tutors, which is accessible in your own time now. So we've moved our training model to be something that suits sort of your timeframes in terms of when you might be able to access it. We have built all of our qualifications around the PrEP learning principles, which is practically applied learning, which we feel was very unique to what we offer within the qualifications themselves. That recognition, so that recognised learning through the accreditations of our awards and qualifications, then really honing and gaining that experience through volunteering, and that is key, getting out there and using those skills in different environments to really build that confidence and resilience. And then that peer-to-peer delivery element. So rather than, we know how successful peer-to-peer delivery can be when you've got 2 young people of similar ages working together, teaching each other, how effective that can be, and that is built into all of the qualifications as well as this esports qualification as well. So we have 40 years of experience of recognising these essential leadership skills. We've developed a range of qualifications and programmes and have embedded that skills framework that we talked about earlier on in the presentation. That skills framework is weaved in throughout every award and leadership programme that we've got. Those tutor resources, we've developed resources to support you with with delivery, so that you're not having to go out and create your own and having more time, or using up more of your, valuable time that you've got and the capacity you've got. We have a really supportive quality assurance and accreditation process. So you will get support all the way through the delivery of the qualification, starting with the tutor training aspect through to any delivery questions you might have, and the quality assurance aspect at the end of the programme when you're ready to certificate your learners. We've also got an award-winning relationship management support. So again, I'm the lead for the esports. If there's any questions that you've got at any point at any time, please come through to me. I'll be able to help you. We'll be able to make sure that you are having the best possible experience, and your students are having the best possible experience through the qualification itself. And that element at the end about building that cultural capital, and you getting those young people, getting those students out and leading and volunteering, and really having that opportunity to really develop their overall selves as well. So, as Dr. Bobby alluded to, we do have the option of you to become a Pioneer Esports Pilot Centre with us. We would absolutely love for the colleges that have attended today to sign up as a centre with us to deliver this. There is a package that's available, so it's £600 for up to 12 learners, and then for each additional learner that you may wish to add on top, it's an additional £60, and that's a reduced price to get you started, and all of the training for the tutor assessor role and the other roles that are relevant to the delivery of this programme are free as part of that. Now, as our expectations of a Pioneer Esports Pilot Centre, firstly is just make sure that you read through the delivery agreement. There is an agreement there that just outlines the expectations, and also when different elements will be available throughout the pilot, because this is a pilot year for us for this qualification. We are excited to say that it will be launching next Tuesday. So on the 27th of September, the Level 3 qualification esports will be live for centres to start delivering. As a minimum, though, we will have units 1 to 4 available to you when you sign up, when you set up, so you can get going with phased rollout of the other units as and when they are fully finalised. And then the other expectation of an Esports Pioneer Centre is just to support us with any forums, focus groups, and any insight research projects that we may come to you, because we want to build this. We really want to build this qualification up. And if you sign up as a Pioneer Centre, we would love to be able to work with you to do some case studies and really make sure that this qualification is exactly what the students need, what the young people need. So there's a lot of an opportunity to support the development of this. We want to work with you collaboratively and make sure that when we go for a full launch in perhaps 12-18 months time, that it's right for everyone. So this is our opportunity now to ask any questions. If you want to ask any questions of myself or Dr. Bobby, please use the reactions and put your hand up, or just unmute yourself and ask away. And likewise, if you don't have any questions, you want to put anything in the chat, that's not a problem. But I think, Rebecca, would you like to ask a question?
Sorry, it's Graham. Just sharing Rebecca's bit. Just curious, do you know roughly how many colleges are actually delivering the BTEC in esports at the minute?
Yeah, it's just over 200.
And have there been some interest from them colleges in the sports leaders package afterwards as an add-on?
There's been chatter, but as we do in esports, but not a tidal wave, no. Right. But I also see this as a qualification that I don't think it's necessary for these colleges that do the BTEC in esports. I mean, I think this sits really nicely along the ones that do A-levels in subjects that are not esports, and for students who are doing A-levels but want to have a qualification which isn't a whole BTEC on esports, but a qualification on esports. I think it personally it sits really well there, because I think maybe the colleges that do the BTEC in esports already do quite a lot of esports. Does that make sense? Yeah, exactly. So actually, alongside non-esports qualifications sounds actually more attractive, because obviously it's 16 UCAS points as well. So it's 16 UCAS points that can add to A-levels and other BTEC, maybe in marketing or something like that, that actually can go towards maybe getting to the university that they want to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, so we already delivered the sports leaders, the practical sport version, and curiosity is getting the better of us.
Right, okay. Well, you see, if you've got sports people that are also interested in esports, you could just put that alongside it as well. You could double barrel it with these leadership.
Absolutely. And you know, from a STEM perspective, this qualification could absolutely sit across a variety of sort of different subjects, I suppose, because the key thing is it's the leadership skills that you're developing, but you're using esports as the vehicle to do so, like you would use sports for your sports students potentially. So, you know, if it's an outcome for the college that you want to increase, you know, those employability skills, then we've purposely packaged the sports pilot as a smaller number, because we appreciate there might not be a massive cohort of students that want to sign up to this. But as Dr. Bobby said, those youth cast points is something that's quite attractive. And if you've got a student that wants to try and get to their main university, it's an opportunity just to add another qualification to your leadership program that you offer already.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I should also say, on the back of that question around the colleges that are delivering the esports BTEC at the moment, we are sort of doing a range of different communication and marketing tactics, strategies to sort of speak to everyone, get this out there. I know the College of Esports, their coordinators are going out and speaking to colleges. So we definitely see this as an opportunity just to raise awareness, and we're not expecting, you know, we'd love as much uptake as we can get, but we know there's obviously other barriers that might restrict participation or signing up to this. But we would hope that, having gone through the presentation, you can see the value of running a qualification like this, and how it is quite unique. It's quite different to what we've done in terms of sort of SLQ sports leaders, but we've been able to really incorporate our experience and from an SLQ perspective, our subject matter experts into the development of the leadership aspects of this. And Dr. Bobby has brought her expertise in e-sportivizing it, as we sort of say internally. Well,
what would you, sorry, can I ask a question? What would you envisage the kind of minimum IT capacities or capabilities would be needed, please? We're just a bit worried about, you know, having sufficient here, or.
So the real unit that actually will require any kind of power required, if that's the right word to use for computing power, is probably the one where it's planning and creating an event. However, planning and creating an event, you can be quite you can do quite a lot online, quite simply, without massive computing power. Or if the students have got like things like switches, they could bring in their switches and you can make a switch event. I mean, switch events, I know that Yuki did their tournament, their school's tournament, using switches because of the problem with schools not having that computing power to run proper full tournaments, and it leveled the playing field between schools that hadn't. So that's one good idea, is switches that the students bring in themselves and sort of almost like donate for the day for people to use, or for themselves to use. That's really the only one where you need any kind of computing power, but you can think your way around it with a few easy tricks. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. That's great, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, if there aren't any questions or aren't any further questions, what we'll do off the back of this is we will make this recording available to you. I'll follow up with an email by Friday with the link to our webpage where you can find out a little bit more and access the full specification for the qualification as well. And if you are considering becoming a pilot centre with us, which I do hope you will do, or you want to explore, if you're a partner of the College of Esports and you want to explore perhaps being a satellite site under the College of Esports, then we can absolutely look at that and support you with that and what that might look like in reality. But yeah, by Friday, I'll follow up with everyone that has attended today with the recording and some links. And then hopefully, you know, you'll come on board with us and start rolling this out over the next sort of 2 to 3 months.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone who's attending. I'm just going to stop the recording now.
Thank you.